Hey everybody, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. I hope you're all doing really well today. Yes, I drew that. The gray agenda. So the first two episodes, the first one covered the grays. The second one covered the Dracos and reptilians. Now we're going to get into an article that I found by alienUFOresearch.com. I'll leave all the info in the description box about the gray aliens. It is a very lengthy article, but there's a lot of juicy things in there that I feel that people should know about. And we'll see how much I can cover today. Also, We Will Never Let You Down by Elena Danaan. That's Valiant Thor. Her depiction of Valiant Thor. Go buy this book. Also, Dr. Michael Salla, The Secret Space Program. I have a lot of his books. Both of them, you need to get their books. I can't share them. I need their permission, and they're very busy at the moment. So get those books. Dr. Michael Salla has a bunch. I only have like, I think 4, maybe 3. I have that one. It's a Star Trek. His latest one is the Star Trek Future. The one with the Nordics and the Navy. I might have another one. All very interesting, very detail oriented, lots of juicy stuff in those books. So definitely get them, because a lot of this stuff is going to be disclosed. Before I begin, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and share this around wherever there's no censorship. Why? Because we're in a time where truth cannot be spread out, and they're just opinions, and I feel like it's okay to express your opinions. Why is this topic, like the Anunnakis, very important? When the Anunnakis left Earth to go back to Nibiru or wherever they hail from, that's all speculative. Our fun reptilian friends that were living down in the earth, the Nagas, and some grave species, were taken hostage in a sense by the Sikar Nebu Empire, the Orion Crusaders, as the Law of One would put it. And they aligned with them, and then our planet went to shit. Now I'm reading the Awaspe book and the Urantia book, which tells us that, you know, we need diversity, we need these things to happen, certain things, but at what point does this all factor in together? Because there's a lot of missing pieces in our paradigm that we fail to recognize, and that is what happened to us. And this goes back to the Enuma Elish. It goes back to Anunnakis. We are aliens ourselves. and we were infiltrated, we were dumbed down, we were genetically modified, like we are a GMO in our own right, by these beings. And they infiltrated governments in different time periods. They have been tweaking and doing things without our consent. So we're going to get into this history because it's very, for me, it's very important that we understand it's not just a religious component or a spiritual component. It ties in with the Anunnaki as well. It does. I'm not lying. But yeah, we're going to go in it. So the gray agenda is also, in my opinion, the Sikar Nebu, which is the Draco reptilians, and some of the gray races that I covered in the first episode. We'll go into them in the article, but I'm not gonna say I agree with everything the article has to say. It's like iffy on some things, and I'll point them out. But I feel like reading something that I certainly resonated with a lot of it will be worth my viewers and your interest to peak. So we're going to start. Right before I do start, I'm going to be reading off my computer screen. Sucks. So mind you, if I lean in and get all intimate with you, don't mind, and hopefully my teeth don't drop. The Greys are one of many different types of alien races that have and are still visiting Earth. The Greys are probably the most known alien species because they not only come to Earth and our solar system often, but abduct people and let them go, leaving many witnesses to attribute to what they look like, and their agenda here is on Earth. When people ask, what do aliens look like? Greys are usually the depiction they give, which is true. There are two different types of greys that visit Earth, and that's where I say no, there's a lot more. The first seem to be the leaders and the most intelligent of the two. They are approximately 5 to 8 feet tall, have large heads, large dark eyes, long skinny fingers, arms, and legs, have a small mouth, small ear holes, and have been reported to have 2 small nostrils. They are hairless and seem to communicate through some kind of telepathy with each other as well as humans. The second are worker greys that have been cloned to the bidding of the larger greys. They are much smaller than the other greys at around 3.5 to 4.5 feet tall, stubbier fingers, arms, and legs, but are similar in other ways. Same shaped head, eyes, ear holes, and small holes for nostrils. They don't seem to be as intelligent as the taller greys and do much more of the grunt work during probing and abductions, while the taller greys work on more scientific areas like collecting male fun and female fun on their genetic materials. Can only imagine what that is, right? Hybridization. Other alien researchers have assumed that there may be other types of greys out there with many names. Much like there are different races of humans, there are different races of aliens, such as the Bellatrix greys, Zeta Reticuli, Gray Type C, and more. As to date, though, these are 2 different types we can determine as true. We have the Mitra, which are those evil little shits. We have the Killy-Tokerd. Those are nasty. Both of them are very nasty. That's a Mitra. Many people have asked why aliens visit Earth and why they abduct people. Well, there are a few different theories as to why they're in our solar system. The Greys come from Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2, a binary star system visible from the southern hemisphere, approximately 38 light years away. The star system consists of two stars, one slightly smaller than our sun in the Milky Way, and the other almost the same mass as our sun. Both stars are much older than our own sun, at around 8 billion years old and dying, while our sun is in its middle age at 4.5 billion years old. Many people, such as Betty and Barney Hill, can confirm that this is their home world, as the aliens during abduction showed her, and she drew a map of the star system. The Greys' sun dying and the resources on their planet depleted, they have moved on looking at other planets to inhabit. Whether or not all the Greys have left is unclear. The Greys also been cloning themselves for generations, which has damaged the genetic makeup of their DNA. To fix the DNA issues, they have been doing experiments on humans. Fun, right? By trying to fill in the gaps of the damaged DNA with healthy human DNA. This is one of the reasons why they abduct humans and do experiments on them. Many people who have been abducted have reported having taken from them. And it's believed that there are thousands of alien human hybrids, which there is, from these abductions that they watch closely to see if they have succeeded in their mission of fixing their dying race. There are a lot of hybrids on planet Earth living as we speak. There are a lot who have been taken off planet for healing. And this has been going on for a very long time. Not fun. They have also had contact with high government officials in the past and present, some good and some bad, such as what went down in Roswell at Area 51. When we went to the moon, the aliens basically chased us off and told us not to return because they had bases on the moon. It's true. Where they do experiments and use as a jump off place when coming and going to Earth. They have been controlling civilizations for centuries by acting as gods, giving out technology and using plain old fear. Some say that they even grow humans that can be controlled and place them in high offices to keep us obedient. So, the hard part for some people to understand and recognize is that the aliens who crashed at Roswell were actually of a benevolent, for my understanding, EBEs. And they were captured, and some did not make it through. And a lot of those autopsy videos are out and probably scratched by now, but I've seen them, and there's a lot of intelligence that comes from that. But from that, they re-engineered those crafts. And many of what you think you see in the air as being UFOs are actually our craft. Ours. Solar Warden, Earth Alliance. Although this gets deep. It gets deep. There's some history that I'm going to touch on today, but in another episode, I'm going to like dig into the Granada Treaty. I'm also going to dig into Project Serpo. So there's a lot. I mean, there's Project High Jump, there's Project Bluebeam, there is Project Paperclip. There's a lot of projects that deal with the hiding and installing and government fund that you don't hear about. I mean, a lot of people have, I hope, watching this, know what those things are. And if you don't, that's okay. We're gonna go over it. Other theories about where the grays come from. Some alien researchers have theorized that the grays aren't from outer space at all and may simply be humans from the future that use time travel to visit, which could explain a lot if you think about it. There is a video out there with what looks like a mitra. It might be something else, a tall gray though, who was captured and interrogated and was saying like, we're your future. And it's creepy and talking about nuclear fun and other things of that nature, which makes sense. But if we know quantum physics and the multiverse theories and a lot of the other quantum fun, you know that there is dimensions and densities within this planet that we can't see with our three-dimensional eyes, but yet still exist. So if a nuclear weapon were to go off again, that would spell a rift in time, space, in three-dimensional space, and would also ripple affect the other densities and dimensions that inhibit the same space that we are in as we speak. So the good, benevolent beings are here looking at us like a freaking zoo right now, cheering us on, by the way, and are basically trying to stop at all costs any nuclear fallout. So when people are talking about nuclear weapons and things that will happen if we don't comply with the current state of the world, just know that is not true, because these benevolent bot guys upstairs have been shutting it down. Okay, like, bye. You're not using that. Nope, you messed up at Atlantis. We are not allowing you to mess it up again. No. Nope. They're doing it. They're not doing it. They're not playing around this time. So take the basic look of the grays to start with. They look very similar to humans, but more advanced. Their heads are larger because of the increased size of the brain. They have grown taller and thinner over time, just as we have over time. Their fingers are more slender, long because of the less physical labor and more use with computers and robotics. Okay, that makes sense. They have larger, darker eyes from being exposed to sunlight, remarkably less than we are normally used to, and use of computing equipment. Trust me. This kills my eyes, guys. A smaller mouth for not needing to speak because they use telepathy, and moving from eating meat to smaller, easy, digestible fuel. Which, when I go back into the law of one, it will talk about the densities and like the lack of what you need to eat. And Alex Collier actually goes into the Andromedans and like they're fruitarians. He touches upon that and many of his talks. So fruit, hey, why not? I'll be a fruitarian. I just don't want poison in my fruit and I'll eat it. No ears for the similar reason for not needing the use of hearing as much. The skin of aliens is gray from mixing of races on Earth during turning it into a plain gray mix. Other things to consider that can be argued, but are still worth mentioning, are the gray aliens that visit us seem to have a great understanding of the different languages here on Earth. Did they learn this over time while studying us, or is it because it's a part of their past? That's valid. The gray spaceships, i.e. the flying saucers, haven't changed over time, which could because they are all coming from the same point in the future, just visiting different times. When they abduct and take both male and female parts to make babies, they may be bringing them back to the future to help save our dying race. We could be a dying of disease or some man-made virus or something that goes kablooey. And the only way to save the human race is to bring back healthy DNA from before whatever happened to us. It's a theory and most evidence points to extraterrestrials, but we're not about to rule anything out until the truth is known. Although with the different species, the good benevolent grays, I could see doing that. But the baddies, I don't quite see it because they're aligned with the draconians. They're aligned with them. This is from www.bibliotechapallades.net/Andromeda. Buckle up. Grays made contact with a world government body for the first time in 1933 in Germany. However, they were turned away by the German government because it had already committed itself to involvement with the Giza intelligence, a renegade group of human extraterrestrials that were headquartered under the Giza Plateau in Egypt. They were predominantly Palladians. They were on their own, doing their own thing. Ashtar, Kamingal, and even Jehovah were part of the group for some time. They came down here and played God with us. People worshiped them because they had technology, which they used it as their power big time. During the 1930s, the Germans were building rockets and starting a space program due to their contacts with the extraterrestrials of the Giza intelligence. The technology developed, however, was used to create weapons because the German governmental body involved were concerning that there was going to be an alien invasion. I'm going to comment after I read the rest of this. The Giza intelligence had told them that the Greys were here to invade, but this actually did not occur. Plans for weapons such as sound devices, lasers, neutron bombs, particle beam weapons were designed. Although many of these weapons were not created until much later in history, a lot of other technology was shared with the Germans by the Giza intelligence, like how to do anti-gravity free energy. The United States was the first to open its doors to the alien race known as the Greys. I've been told only one contact in 1934 where the Greys made their presence known to the US government in the state of Washington. I don't know the particular details, but somehow the government knew the Greys were there. It wasn't until 1947 that the actual contact occurred with the aliens and United States officials. The first face-to-face contact was due to the shooting down of an alien craft, namely the Roswell incident. This pressed the Greys into contact earlier than they had actually anticipated doing themselves. After the crash in Roswell, the United States, the Soviet Union, and the British at the very highest levels became blood brothers. By the way, none of these governments knew what Germany was really up to. The Germans were very, very secretive about their contact with the Giza intelligence. The Roswell incident created more of an urgency to develop a true space program to defend the Earth. The United States and the Soviet governments thought that the alien presence could be a threat because these aliens were so technologically more advanced. But the Greys, in their own fashion, really backdoored these governments through deceit. The True Space Program, this underground program that we are just now beginning to hear about, was originally financed by the members of the Club of Rome. Now I'm going to put a pause on that. I have read many things about this. And I don't necessarily disagree with the Giza intelligence. There is a few factions in the Pleiades, and one of them is malevolent, bad Pleiadians. Whereas benevolent, okay. But there are different factions of Pleiadians, and I feel that these Pleiadians that were contacted through Maria Orsich, the Nordics, and not, again, the Nordics are just what they look like, were the not so nice Pleiadians. But they're missing and lacking a detail in that I believe that they also were contacted by the Draconians. Big time. Theories are out there. Big time theories are out there, but I do believe that Mr. Adolf was contacted by the Sikaar and Orion Empire. And the Pleiadians were working, the Nordics, the malevolent, were working alongside them. And were given technology like the bell. And when World War II ended, Project Paperclip hit, and we took a lot of the German scientists, and so did Russia, because they knew about what they had an idea. Don't think they didn't have an idea. We just didn't have face-to-face contact with them until Roswell. And I don't think the first shooting down of the craft was of malevolent beings. I thought they're benevolent beings. They fled to Antarctica with all their high-tech, anti-gravity, free energy fun that could have helped and saved a lot of us, including myself at this moment in time, from what's being orchestrated to us right now. You see, we're in a movie, and this is war that is faked. We're being helped right now by a lot of benevolent creatures, and I hope they're hearing me right now. I need help. I need help now. This 3D paradigm, I'm done with it. This is my last month of being able to pay. Well, no, I don't even have any money anymore to pay bills. It's scary. It's very scary. I don't know whether I should look into bankruptcy or refinance my home, which I don't want the bank to own anyway. So I have to figure out what kind of loan I can get without a job. It's fun. And then pray that I could figure out a way to pay it back until these, oh, we're gonna take away the mandates. We're gonna take them away, but only for vaccinated people. That's what they lack to tell you. When all this went down, I went into some stores. I spoke with some people that work there, and I'm like, you don't have to wear that. Oh no, only for unvaxxed, but it's very heavily acquired that you do wear a mask at work. Oh, okay. So with my dental issues, I can't wear one. Fun times. Getting back to the article, sorry off the rant, but I can't do this anymore. I can't with these people. This movie is accelerating. A lot's going on, a lot's going down. This information is going to come out in whatever version it comes out in. I hope to help all of you try to digest some of this. But we're being duped on both ends, and I'm done with it. For real. I'm sorry, waking up an entire world to how messed up this world has been by hurting people that are patriotic and for everybody, not just one side. It's not good. And it's not really fair. I didn't ask for this. I mean, but I'm on my purpose now, but my 3D bills aren't going to take care of themselves. So it's so frustrating. Now you'll need to do some homework to find out who those members are. And don't be surprised at who you see. We will talk more about that later when we discuss the moon. Prior to this, in the 1850s to the 1950s, 100 years, there had been some utilization of cattle and humans in experiments by the Greys. If you know sign language, which was created in the 1950s, learned that the Greys were responsible. 3-letter agency starting with N, ending in A. In 1952, the US government prepared itself for the realization of ongoing alien contact when our military radar system started to down their craft. The Greys knew that in order to perform their experiments on such a large scale to save their race, they would need the cooperation of high political body. In other words, they had to come to terms. This is where the juicy stuff comes in. A select politically structured body created secretly with the United States government was designed to be the liaison between the Greys, the technological gods, and the Earth humans. The military was very enthusiastic for communication with the aliens in hopes of exchanging technology for raw materials. This liaison group, this political structure is and was the super secret national security agency for contact and study of aliens was its original purpose. In May 1954, at the Holloman Air Force Base, the United States government made a formal agreement with the gray alien race. Such of the terms of this agreement were the exchange of technology of anti-gravity, metals, alloys, and environmental technologies to assist the Earth with free energy and medical application regarding the human body. All the Greys asked for in return was to be allowed to study the human development, both in the emotional consciousness makeup and reside here on Earth. The single act of signing a contract with the extraterrestrial race was the most significant act in human history because it launched us in the direction we never intended to go in the first place. And it thrust us into a world where we're not prepared for either, being host to an alien race. This is where the Granada Treaty steps in. But Elena Danaan, in her book, met Balthor, who was a Venusian who came and in a human skin suit, pictured as well, very well-known story, was trying to help Eisenhower. Eisenhower never signed the Granada Treaty. It was the Majestic 12 and the military complex who did it behind his back. A lot of articles will state that Eisenhower signed it, but he never did. And I believe that. We have to understand that the United States government has been infiltrated by these three-letter agencies and very wicked people who were a part of this Club of Rome and who were a part of the Fourth Reich and were deceiving its own people into believing that they were good people, but in fact that they were part of an agenda that we're seeing play out now in our world. Big time. Essentially, what this contract has also done has handcuffed the Andromedan Council and those benevolent extraterrestrial races from being able to take a more active role in Earth's evolution. It's true. It has placed the burden squarely on the shoulders of humanity to enlighten itself of the facts and to consciously create ascension on an individual basis. Here we are right now. Literally, here we are. Because this particular treaty was agreed upon between the aliens and the ultra units in the, which actually is a government unto itself. They, in effect, turned away help from outside benevolent races that could have obtained before. We were duped by our own government. And it's not the president. Again, there are people above the president, but too many people above the president, who hold many more strings. And the president is just a showpiece, in my opinion. Always has been. After Kennedy, in my opinion, all the presidents besides 45 have been installed. Both ends, making it, kind of even ended on both sides of the political spectrum to play out the same exact role, making a guise to say, oh, that's a Republican and that's a Democrat. They all knew about these beings. They all understood the scope and the capacity of their abilities, and they have infiltrated every aspect of governments, not just ours in the United States, all around the world. All of it. The book that I showed through the slides with the pictures is from the KGB. So they knew. Why isn't us people, citizens of planet Earth, told? It goes into the religious paradigm, it goes into faith, it goes into a lot of things that people are afraid of. My whole life, I read about alien abductions. I'm going to dig out my books to show in another episode about them, but we were brought up with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. It's out there. We had Independence Day. We had MIB. I mean, come on. That's predictive programming telling you that it's real. That's what it is. That's what predictive programming is telling you. The Simpsons even told you. They ripped the masks off the politicians and what was under there. Aliens. Come on now. We're aliens in our own right. So we got to stop this. They don't exist nonsense. I mean, Contact. That movie right there. Hello. Stargates, portals, wormholes. Vegan Contact, of course. It's real. We have to come to terms with it. If you're not already on that goalpost, move there. Because it's coming. Our Star Trek future is incoming, guys. It is. The secret space program is no longer a secret. There are so many more people now coming out about their 20 and back jumps. James Rank of Super Soldier Talk, I love him. He's amazing. Go check him out. He does a lot of amazing interviews. Project Omega, his Super Soldier SSP 101 video, I think, is on Rumble, I believe. Watch that. Amazing. We have Alex Collier, who's over 30 years been telling everybody what the hell has been going on, and like people don't want to listen, but this stuff is real. It's real. And the more we understand in the scope of how big this is and how it ties into everything, because it not only ties into government, it ties into religion as well. It does. And we've been duped by not having this technology that they have. It's been held from us. Free energy has been withheld from us. Tesla was onto something, and we were duped into the debt system, having to pay for natural resources that everybody can have and enjoy for nothing. It's all about greed. A lot of people talk about crypto and the financial system and you know, gold and silver and stuff. I think it's greed. Listen, yeah, if I could have invested, I probably would have. But at the end of the day, I don't necessarily align with that, because we should all not have to worry about paying for certain things that should be a God-given right. Energy, one of them. If we have the technology to have free energy, why aren't we using it? Why are other people lining the pockets for that? And that's not to say people would be out of jobs. No, there would be plenty of jobs in that field because there's a lot of technology that goes into making free energy. I mean, just to think that we could have been already a spacefaring race, human planet, going up into the stars. Whether you want to believe in the flat Earth theory or not, or the multiverse and the different levels of Earth, it doesn't matter. Like, I want to know what's behind that ice wall. I want to meet my star family. I think it's important. For some reason, some of my slides that I made are repeated, so I'm sorry, I'm just looking. Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. And then some of my notes got cut off, so I'm gonna try to make sense out of this next slide. So basically, this next slide, it's saying that your tax-paying dollars has funded these Black operating agendas. When Roswell happened, other bases, secret bases, S2, China Lake, I don't know about Cheyenne Mountain, but there's a lot of different facilities around the United States that have DUMBs and military installations within them. And they house aliens, or they did at one point, the Greys and the Seacars, okay? The Orion Empire. And they were conducting with my labs and other entities, cloning and other experiments on humans. Also, the slave trade of that's also incorporated in this. What's being taken out now has everything to do with them as well. It's not just a trafficking situation, it's also a trafficking situation. We are made to, and our souls are a hot commodity on the market, and they're traded. So yes, there are some people who do get abducted by malevolent beings who will hybridize and take parts or install parts and use them for their own negative doing. And then with certain DNA, with human DNA, they take them and adios, you're off the planet. So the bad. Now realize that the Greys are genetic engineers, that they are. Though not the only ones, most of the aliens from off-planet are genetic engineers because they value life forms as opposed to gold and silver. That's where the Anunnaki and the Greys differ. Genetics, life forms, and things of that nature is their wealth. A lot of genetic engineering and experimentation is going on here on Earth and Mars, moon Phobos, by the Greys. No longer. We took Phobos back and Deimos. Bye-bye, Greys. Bye-bye. Adios, arrivederci. Out skis. Those were liberated in 2001. They just got liberated. No more. Our moon was also liberated in 2001 from the Dark Fleet and the Black Ops and Nachwaffen Regier. Although on Mars, there are reptiloid species that are native and mantoids, insectoids that are native to that planet that are staying there. So if they tell you, oh yeah, you want to go to Mars and colonize Mars, yeah, no. And not because they're not going to welcome there've been humans on Mars. I think there's a base called New Berlin on Mars. I don't know if that got taken over, but Mars has been flushed out as well. It is going to be it's been liberated and taken over by the benevolence. So yes, Mars will be a place maybe we can go on vacay, but I would not necessarily want to, and not because the reptiloids and the insectoids are evil, but humans were doing a lot of not okay things there because they were forced to. Many of the SSP stories, they go to Mars and they try to take the insectoids out. And yes, there are ones that will eat you and kill you without a snap of an instant. They don't care. So just be cautious if you're thinking about like wanting to go there. Not safe just yet to be colonizing Mars. Until there's more treaties and stuff made that they're all going to work in harmony. And people do really need to get used to the idea that we're not alone and that there are a lot of species that do not look like us. And we need, just like anybody in the handicapped community or somebody with a deformity, you know, people do not treat those people very well. Yes, it's human nature to look, but there are very cruel people out there who can't look past somebody's deformity or issue and give them love. That's not okay. And until we can get and move beyond that point, we're not going to be ready for the, we'll get the humanoids first that come down and say hi, but the other species, we need to get used to. That's why I'm doing this. Help everybody get prepared. I mean, it's nothing when you see it in a picture to seeing it in real life. I mean, I was horrified when I had that picture of the Draco in that plague mask. It didn't freak me out. What he was doing was freaking me out. But I wasn't scared. Just like, ew. Not my cup of tea. They are using this opportunity to try to satisfy their own agenda, which is to create DNA and genetic stock that is clean enough to foster new physical life forms that are capable of regeneration and birth for their race. As of now, the Greys are most interested in female genetic stock because of all family lineages follow the female rather than the male. Why? Because you always know who your mother is. You may not always know who your father is. Many new races have been created this way throughout our galaxy. It's not something that's new going on here. This has been going on for a very long time. Few races today have actually reminded us reminded as pure genetic stock, with the exception of two races, the Andromedans say they are really genetically clean. We're not. We're a combo of 22 different races. That is why the reptilians from Alpha Draconis and the other is what we call or known as the Elohim, which are a very ancient race of humans that survived Lyra. All other races are a varied degree of hybrid or mixture of races of different genetic stock. So the Alpha Draconis dominated the Lyra system, the man system, where the humanoids, the original Palladians, the feline species, and some other species, where they all had to disperse. There was a huge war. That's what Star Wars is based off of, that war. And different systems were terraformed and made. The Palladian system specifically. Some systems in the Orion system were taken by benevolent. They're not all evil. And some other systems. Another point is that the Greys themselves would like to be free from the Orion Empire. It's very true. They will have no chance of survival themselves if they do not create or match their body type or genetics with ours. You see, time is quickly running out for them, and we as a race is evolving at a tremendous rate. On a spiritual conscious level, we are evolving dramatically, making our genetics harder to use while they are dying out like there's no tomorrow. And they are very aware of this fact. So even though what they're doing is wrong, they really are caught up in a tough position themselves. Because what they're doing to us has been done to them. I'm just trying to draw parallels. I'm not justifying it in any way. By the way, when any of the aliens give birth to a child, they take the child outside of the Earth's atmosphere so the child is born fully aware of its incarnational history. So it realizes who it is and doesn't carry the veil. Why is this? Apparently there is some kind of agreement. If you are born within the Earth's atmosphere, you got to be veiled. But it's just part of what comes with being born here. So I feel like they're saying they're taking that baby out of third density and giving it a fourth to fifth density experience, taking it out of the quarantined Earth. Because we at the time this was written, probably third dimension. And I do believe that even the babies being born now are in 3D, where you have the veil of forgetting. Some of us remember, I remember a lot of what I am, and I'm now being revealed to me what my purpose is. But I can't get my purpose done if I'm being impeded. They hear me. The Greys' master assigned agenda is to create a slave race, which is currently in full swing, for the purposes of control, physical service, labor, and sexual energy. Now we'll explain this. The acts of feeding, war, anger, psychic energy, genetic experiments, hybrids are a food source, genetic and biological materials. The Greys and their masters feed off this, our energy. As examples, if two people are fighting, they create a lot of emotional negative energy. And this is why you will find that whenever there are wars going on, there's a lot of UFO activity, negative energy. They feed off of it. It's likened to when you're making love to a man or your woman, And you reach that moment where you're both at the same place at the same time in a loving, benevolent way. That's how it feels for them regarding negative energy release. The energy of fear, that rush of adrenaline, young teens on a battlefield running around scared, this is what they crave. All of that negative emotional aspects. It's called loosh. They love it. Love it. That's why you cannot be in fear, because that's what they siphon. Trying to tell people that, they're like, I love you people, but come on. They have also been doing extensive research on the human brain and its capabilities, as well as study of the soul. Many people who have been implanted by the Greys, who are aware of it, and those who still aren't, must become aware of the fact that they have actually been on a kind of machine and are being shown and trained to do something. According to the Andromedans, the Greys are training us to fight their war against the Draconians, one of their masters. When they get here, because they're going to use us as their soldiers, just like when our military sends the infantry and Marines, those implanted will be first ones on the beach, while the Greys sitting back on the board their ships, drinking champagne or having gin and tonic, wondering how the battle is going. They have chosen our world to be a battleground. So true. At the same time, they're still going about preparing the earth for its new owners. Apparently, the Greys are going to make this attempt, but the inevitable truth is that the reptilians from Alpha Draconis are on their way here now, and this has very serious implications for us. Now, honestly, I'm not here to promote fear. I don't believe in it, but I'm telling you what I've been told to tell you. We have boxed ourselves into a corner, and the only way we can change the outcome is that we have to consciously become aware of what our world really is about, what's really going on here. And we have to create the space of love. That's the bottom line. By creating a space of love, the Greys, the Draconians, the Orions won't be able to handle the vibration. They got to leave, or we're going to have to ask for some serious intervention here, in case there's going to be a war in the heavens, as the Bible predicted. It will be all about saving us. You know, this talk about Ashtar coming down here to save you. Now, Elena Danaan talks about the Ashtar command, and so does Patty Broussard. Ashtar isn't an entity. It's a office holder name, like a commander. There's a facility on Jupiter. But we need to raise our frequency in love and light. We have to unite and come together as a race, a human species, so that they can't come here. This war has already been done. It's played out. We won. Good guys win. But it's still now like the fallout of the movie. We're watching the ending parts of this like movie. But we can't get to this point ever again, because don't think they're not going to try again to infiltrate us and try to take our world again. But we're going to be playing on their density battlefield, not ours. They can drop density. Here she is. They can't go above a certain density, but we can. We can ascend. So we really need to raise those vibes. We need to get out of the fear. We need to get recognizing that it's all tied in together. And we can't allow races to just take us without our consent and do what they want with us. It's not how it should go at all. At all. I'm going to read 2 more slides and then I'm going to pick up at another time. That means we have got to get it straight. What we as a race have got to come together and decide what it is that we want and how we want to live. However, we're going to raise our children, what moralities, what laws, etc. Not to be told by somebody else out there what is best for us. But it's never worked before and it's not going to work now. Most human beings would rather die than living being a slave, which we've been since we were all born. That's just our nature, our soul to be free. We're at that point again. What will we choose? You see, the Greys are currently monitoring the brain waves of those they have implanted. They have done this for the better part of 100 years on Earth. So generations of family members have been implanted. The cloning of human beings, of life forms, and the art of subversion was taught by the Greys to the So I'm going to leave it there. A lot of background, a lot of history. The next episode, I'll pick up on more of this article, which is really it's very well informed. I found it to be very intense. A lot of interesting perspectives and perceptions that is thrown out there. These people did a really good job. So that's why I'm reading it. And then adding my own take on and spin on things, of course. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. Everybody has their own history and knowledge of the Greys and the reptilians. But we're at this point now in our paradigm where we really do need to figure out where we want to go and how we want to go about it, because our world is changing. And what's happening to many of us right now is not okay. The prices are going up on everything. The shelves are bare. It's teaching you a lesson, but there is going to be a lot of people suffering through this. And it's up to people to step up that have the means to help others. That's why I created this channel, to get this awareness going. And I'm, hopefully I can continue doing this. Hopefully I can continue to feed myself and to keep the bills paid. It's not easy. All for some of you people to wake up. But everybody who's watching this right now, I'm sure you're all aware of some aspects, and we're going to go in a lot deeper. I'm looking into different articles to read, finding more pictures. I have to be careful because the last time I did a video with the Grey Agenda, it took forever for it to upload. YouTube, why? And even on the other BitChute. So if you can help me out, that'd be amazing. Just even a like, a subscribe, or a share. This is going to be a long series. I'm going to try to cram in more and more as the end of the month happens and see where I am with being able to pay bills. Otherwise, I have to figure things out, and I don't know if they're going to work. So putting it out there that I am owed a lot of money from my former employer, who fails to care that people need money that they earned and worked for. Communists. So with saying that, sending each and every one of you love and light. Until the next one, see you next time. Bye.